Adrian Chase, the second character to adopt the Vigilante mantle in DC Comics. If you want to count this version from 1941, in Action Comics issue 41 is the first. But it's a completely different character. He made his first appearance as Vigilante in the New Teen Titans Annual issue 2, published in August 1983. They introduced Chase as a mysterious figure who takes justice into his own hands after the murder of Manhattan District Attorney Adrian Chase. His transformation into the Vigilante was fully realised here, marking a pivotal moment in his journey and in DC Comics history. The line between justice and vengeance is a blade's edge, one that can cut the wielder as deeply as the target. Adrian Chase, with his sleek negative space black costume and conflicted heart, is a hero who never quite decides which side of that line he stands on. His story unfolds much like Christopher Nolan's The Prestige, in 3 acts: The Pledge, The Turn, and The Prestige. Each step twisting audience expectations while reflecting the spiralling deterioration of his own mind. The Prestige movie is built around magic tricks. 3 phases. The Pledge, showing something ordinary. The Turn, making it extraordinary. And The Prestige, the shocking reveal of Vanishing Act. Similarly, Adrian's journey maps onto these phases not just structurally, but thematically, where each phase reveals deeper layers of loss, obsession, and self-destruction. The Pledge. Becoming the Vigilante at first glance, Adrian's journey echoes Frank Castle's The Punisher. A family slaughtered, a man broken, a war declared. His introductory panels bleed grief. In issue 1, he rids himself of his family's belongings, signalling a clean break from his old life. Teresa Gomez becomes his research assistant, and his best friend, a brilliant computer whiz, JJ, offers resources. And Adrian finances his crusade through a personal trust fund, a safety net that lets him act without answering to anyone. And unlike Castle's militaristic precision, Adrian starts with only 6 months of training, but it's enough to make him dangerous, but not enough to make him stable. His early missions are a blend of cold execution and bizarre detours. One moment killing a man, the next playing handball. He's crazy, narrated all by an ever-present internal monologue that feels less like planning and more like compulsion. The design of his costume, a striking interplay of black negative space, mirrors his philosophy, a visual void into which morality itself seems to vanish. The art, rich in colour for his villains, which contrast his monochrome world, placing him as the moral shadow amid their chaos. Just as The Prestige begins showing a magician's trick as a simple illusion, Adrian's initial act of vigilantism appears straightforward: punish the guilty and protect the innocent. But beneath this surface lies the first hint of deeper complexity and impending darkness. The Turn. The collapse of certainty. As The Prestige teaches, the second act is where the ordinary becomes extraordinary, or horrifying in this case. For the magician, it's when the trick deepens and the illusion spins out of control. For Adrian, this means watching the simplicity of kill the guilty fracture under the weight of doubt. By issue 2, his certainty begins to crumble. He convicts an innocent man, and even when the courts clear him 2 years later, Adrian hunts him down. To Adrian's warped mind, innocent on paper doesn't erase the belief that he must pay. It takes his own sidekick to stop him from crossing that final line. This is where he starts to differ from the Punisher. Adrian begins to question whether the act of killing corrupts the killer as much as it punishes the guilty. He refuses his father's offer to work for his law firm, disgusted by the idea of defending wealthy criminals, only to reverse course later, wearing a suit instead of a mask, defending the very people he once hunted. His convictions are in constant motion, his moral compass spinning under trauma's magnetic pull. A significant and mysterious layer to Adrian's origin unfolds in issue 7 and 8, where his path intersects with a mystical cult deep in the desert. This cult, steeped in arcane rituals, grants Adrian regenerative powers, enabling him to heal rapidly from otherwise fatal wounds, pushing him beyond normal human limits. However, as the story progresses, the reader is left uncertain whether these mystical experiences actually occurred, Or is it just a hallucination or delusion within Adrian's increasingly fractured mind? This ambiguity adds to the psychological tension, making it unclear if the cult's influence is real or merely a product of his trauma. And in issue 8, he faces a vigilante dressed in red who mirrors his former self, killing criminals who escape on technicalities. Earlier in this issue, Adrian himself is depicted in red during a chase scene. A rare and intentional visual choice, I think, by the artist, foreshadowing this confrontation. The red is the rage of his past, staring back at him. The emotional stakes rise in issue 9 to 10, when his best friend is murdered. Any fragile restraint he's built shatters, and he embraces vengeance once again. His methods blur further in issue 13, where he murders a man mid-air, fully aware of his innocence in the crime at hand. And much like the Prestige's Torn, where the magic deepens and the stakes escalate, Adrian's moral certainty fractures, revealing the trick's darker machinery. His pursuit becomes obsessive, filled with mirrors reflecting his own fractured psyche, and the line between hero and villain grows ever thinner. The Prestige. The vanishing of the man inside. The final act is the reveal. The magician disappears, leaving the audience stunned and questioning reality. For Adrian, the final act is revelation, but not necessarily resolution. In issue 12, his mental health nosedives into hallucinations and nightmares. He imagines himself killing his wife, his children, and even his best friend JJ. The boundaries between memory, fantasy, and reality all collapse. His encounters with others, like a woman seeking vengeance after surviving brutal assault, force him to question whether killing is ever truly justified. Her story mirrors his own, yet he cannot decide if her path is righteous or damning. Also, quick mention, the legendary mind of Alan Moore, the man behind Watchmen and many other series, also randomly wrote issues 17 to 18. Just thought I'd point it out, that deserves a mention. In issue 20, it shows him taking a job as a judge, the gavel heavy in his hand, each strike killing a piece of himself. Who is he to judge others? Is the man in the mask the real Adrian? Or is Adrian just the mask's excuse? Sleepless nights consume him. He dreams of hurting people and wakes unsure if he already has. His nightmares become indistinguishable from his memories. The final issue delivers the most devastating turn. Adrian, worn down by years of violence, disillusionism, and the corrosive erosion of his moral boundaries, ends his own life. It is not framed as a grand act of redemption or a martyr's sacrifice. It is the quiet surrender of a man who can no longer live with the contradictions of who he has become. The mask didn't just hide Adrian Chase, it hollowed him out, piece by piece, until nothing was left. Adrian Chase is not a simple anti-hero. He is a character study in the cost of vigilante justice on the human mind. His story is about how trauma warps truth, how morality bends until it breaks, and how in chasing justice, you can erase yourself entirely. His suicide is the tragic, full stop to a life written in contradictions. A man who could save others, but not himself. Who could recognize injustice, but never heal from it. Who could kill without hesitation, yet hesitate to live. In the end, the Prestige is not the death of a hero, or the triumph of the vigilante. It's the disappearance of Adrian Chase as a man, replaced by the echo of his own demons, until he could bear the weight no longer. Well everyone, what do you think of that? I personally read issues 1 to 50 of the original Vigilante run, and it really hit home. I loved him in Peacemaker, but this is a completely different side to the character. So before you watch season 2, I recommend you give it a read. But yeah, let me know what you thought. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Peace.